Henry Cisneros is the former HUD secretary under Bill Clinton, joins us right now. Secretary, good to have you. I'm sure you share the same concern for your successor, Ben Carson, right now. But it is a reminder that this thing is quite virulent, still alive and well and building. And I'm wondering if we're seeing a second wave, and that should and ultimately could prove to be President-elect Joe Biden's first task. What do you think?
Well, Neil, first of all, thank you for having me, and it's great to talk to you again. I've had the good fortune to be on your show a number of times over the years, and I always appreciate it. I think you're right. It is a reminder that the virus is very, very intense. In fact, the 128,000 new cases on one day last week, Friday, were as strong a number as has been any time during the pandemic. I'm not sure it's fair to characterize it as a second wave because we really didn't plateau down far enough to talk about this as a wave. It's more a plateau at a high level and very dangerous. It should remind each and every one of us that we have to continue to be vigilant and wear protection with a mask at least, and be careful in other respects because it's still dangerous. And I was thinking about this morning. You know, it's one thing to talk about large numbers of people and you say, well, very few of them actually go to the hospital and fewer on ventilators and fewer die. But for those who are affected, it is profound. And that has been 238,000 people in our country who have actually died. So we have to be careful. Now, the vaccine, of course, will be an important step forward. It will reduce the number of people who are vulnerable. And so I certainly understand the upbeat mood of the stock market at the possibility that a vaccine might be available sooner than later.
Do you share the view? I know when the President-elect Biden was talking about this and his task force that he's assembled, a bipartisan one, to deal with this and help prepare him for doing something on day one when he takes over next January, that there's something else here. And maybe it will require more draconian steps than what governors have proposed. I was talking to Ned Lamont and, you know, what's going on in Connecticut there with restricting indoor dining past 10 p.m., that sort of thing. Right. New Jersey, where I live, the Secretary, where they're entertaining the same type of things, that we might need something more national. I'm not saying need it, but what's going on in Italy, what's going on in Germany and France and Portugal, where they are reimposing limitations. Is that wise to you?
Yeah, Neil, I think the first thing is let's try just being positive and encouraging people to employ the precautions that we know work, like masks. Stop the rhetoric that says masks are a political statement and that people somehow are making a statement of defiance and independence by not wearing a mask. That foolishness. Just let's get positive about this.
Do you think it should be a federal edict? Secretary, do you think it should be a federal edict?
I don't think a federal edict per se works, but I do think strong guidance to governors and to cities and to businesses and to the country at large and leadership by example does make a difference. So that would be the first level, I think. If one must go beyond that, then we know there are things that work related to the limitations on hours and density of gatherings and so forth. But no, I don't think that an overall lockdown is warranted. I don't think the president-elect and his team are thinking about that. I think we can take solace from the fact that he's appointed people like Dr. Vivek Murthy, former Surgeon General, and Dr. David Kessler, former FDA commissioner, in the last days, to head a kind of a very experienced, scientifically oriented group that can walk that tightrope between the precautions that are necessary, imperative, and keeping this economy alive and moving forward.
All right, we'll follow it very, very closely. Henry Cisneros, thank you for taking the time. Be safe and healthy yourself.